ladies and gentlemen, just like that, boys and girls, we back. Makai is making a face because he doesn't know how to turn things down.
You don't know how to turn things down.
I turned it down. I think, listen, Riverside needs to figure itself out. This is the 4th and 1 podcast. Everywhere, 4th and 1 podcast, at 4th and 1 podcast. TikTok at 4th and 1 pod. It is myself, aka, with, as always, Captain Boring himself. For me, he's on the bottom. For you, who knows? We don't edit our podcast. And in the middle, of course, not CFB3, Roberto himself. We're coming to you live from Lancaster, Lidditz, and Williams something, Pennsylvania. I will eventually learn where you live, Robert. We got a absolutely action-packed episode for you, so stick around. We're going to cover the AP Top 25 coming out. Micaiah is going to attempt to prove he's not a pedophile.
What?
And
whoa. Okay. First of all, it's 4th and 1 pod on TikTok, as you can see right here on the screen. 4th and 1 pod.
They'll show up. Do they show up?
Yeah, they show up.
This shows you how much I pay attention. Nice.
I'm pretty
okay.
sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they show up.
Did you? Okay, I haven't looked.
It's 4th and 1 podcast on Instagram and on Facebook, so go check that out.
Literally what I said.
I know, but you said 4th and 1 podcast on TikTok. It's 4th and 1 pod.
I said
on
4th
TikTok.
and 1 pod on TikTok.
Okay,
because
I'm not
I'm
arguing
good at my
with
job.
You. I'm not arguing with you about this. You're very bad at your job.
Me, Smalls.
You're very bad at your job. Yeah, I'm not a pedophile. Don't be starting off. I do want to give it. Listen, they are our 5 new subscribers. I do want to give a shout out to
Let's
Jacob,
go.
Sophia, Kaylee, Zoe, and if she had a phone, Lily. But since she doesn't have a phone, she can't subscribe to us, so I don't give her a shout out. So shout out to all of those. Yes, they are Carrie's cousins' kids, so that's like first cousins once removed or something.
First cousins
like
once
that.
removed. Yep, that's how that works, baby.
I don't know how it works.
What it do, baby?
What it do, baby?
That
I
one's
hope
hurt.
I hope this episode is tough. That's TUFF.
All
I
right.
hope it is not zesty.
Robert, has he been doing
What
this
are we
to you?
doing?
Yeah, has he been
What is
doing
this?
this to you? Yeah, this is Micaiah's Generation Z language coming out.
I actually think it's technically Generation Alpha language.
No, if they're as old as they are, they're technically Z. If they were born before 2006, well, no, never mind. You're right. It is Alpha. They are Alpha.
Yeah,
They are the
it's
new age
I
of
think it's
Alpha.
technically Generation
So
Alpha.
R.I.P. Grandpa, but we had off Monday because we
It's
had to
wild.
go bury the grandfather.
Literally
and-
R.I.P. Grandpa.
Literally R.I.P. Grandpa, and we had to go bury the grandfather. And I decided it was smart because I drove Makai and Carrie around everywhere for them to finally drive me around. And this is the suffering that I had to put in. I never felt so old than listening and reading the conversations. It's very entertaining. I hope that it goes on forever. And this group chat outlasts the sun. But, it was kind of infuriating.
Listen, it makes
in the
you
funniest way
feel. It
possible.
makes you feel old.
Yeah.
It makes me feel old. So in text messages, JS.
Yeah,
what
just
is that?
saying.
Just
That's-
saying.
No, not anymore.
Oh my lord.
It's now just. That's it. Just. They shortened just to JS now. And don't worry is DW. I've learned that
No,
this
that's
week as
Dora
well.
Winifred, and you know it, you son of a
That's
bitch.
Dora the Explorer, okay?
It's an
I mean,
Arthur reference
DW
for those of you
as
who don't get it.
worry, like makes sense at least.
Yeah, I don't understand just.
JS as in just.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
technically, it is the word
Type
just
it out.
minus 2
yeah,
letters.
Yeah. Put in the extra effort, The crowd is going mild.
That
okay?
one is
That
a
is
10
the
out of
best
10.
insult I have ever heard, though,
Yeah.
which did come out of this group chat, which is the one guy, Jacob. Someone messed up and hit a typo, and he
Use.
replied, and the crowd went mild.
So
And
like,
I am now using that all the time.
when did it like? Why is it now?
Gen
like,
Alpha.
When did when did people just stop cursing? Like, it's just all these words that just don't make sense and are unnecessary. Like, just drop the F-bomb. It's fine.
Make
it's-
America curse again.
Yeah. What's up with that? Oh,
I
let's
mean-
use Let's use more
Sorry,
adjectives
Mom.
and nouns. Like, no.
I mean, they are 14-year-old and they do come from religious
Hey,
backgrounds.
that one
so,
is 17 and a half or whatever she
16. She's 16.
Well,
There are
okay,
two 16 and a halves.
This
Yeah.
is also information that's not being bestowed to me.
Okay, well, I
I'm just
didn't.
thinking they're normal. I just
Okay.
think they're normal people.
I didn't want to like just put them on blast on this podcast that now 43 people listen to. Okay.
Well, Dick,
You're not
here's
putting
the
them on
deal.
blast.
I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellent.
I didn't want to air their business out on this podcast. They originally wanted me to give their first and last name, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. That's how
one-way
creeps-
ticket to Creepville.
Yeah, that's how creeps find
Yeah.
you.
That's then Micaiah really has to prove it.
Yeah.
yeah.
For
Carrie is my wife is also in this group chat.
Oh, yeah, it's not just
is-
Micaiah.
Yeah, it's not just me.
I
My
just wanted
wife
to-
is also in this group chat.
Yeah.
The parents know about it. So FBI and whoever protects
You're-
the children, you can move off
no
of
one
me.
protects. No one protects
Yeah,
the children.
they
No
can't
one
even protect the president. They're not gonna.
That was not the one that I wanted to hit.
It
That is
doesn't
a-
matter. It actually worked out better for you.
That is a crowd goes mild sort of situation.
That is a crowd goes mild situation.
That's the one I wanted to hit. Okay, so the AP on the drive up to Barry RIP Grandpa, AP released its findings, I guess. I don't know. We learned a lot on Monday. Suffice it to say, we were recording this on a Tuesday. But we learned a lot, mostly that the NCAAs are little bitches. And hold on. Sorry, Mom. And if everything, we wouldn't have had the BCS. We wouldn't have had. What year was it that we had 3 national championships? 3 national champions?
Oh, was that like 1937?
Yeah, we wouldn't have had it if the NCAA would just give out and run a tournament for FBS football. They do it for every other sport at every other level. It's literally just FBS football. You can blame Goodyear, the Cotton Bowl, and I don't know, the Toyota. I can't even think, the Fiesta Super Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl. I don't know. I'm stroking out here. I'm trying to transition over to the AP Top 25. Something that, Robert, it first came out in what, 1936?
Yeah.
Back when Army and Navy actually were powerhouses. Obviously, this segment is brought to you by you guys, the viewers. Like and subscribe, guys. When you interact with us, just drop in a little comment. If you made it this far, go ahead and tell me your favorite year, just in general. Don't have to tell me why. Mine was 1997 because that's when my wife was born, and I'm a suck up. So
Wait, she's older than you?
yes, she is 6 months older than I am.
You're dating a cougar?
Yes,
I don't
yes.
think I knew that.
Yeah. I have a sugar mama.
How
as
old are
one
you
could say.
guys?
Me? I am
Am I
26.
the oldest one?
I
Yeah.
am 26 years old, sir.
Oh my! I'm your grandpa. I'm 31.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah.
When will
Yeah.
you be 32?
February.
February? Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 32. Would you guys like to start at the top of the list or at the bottom of the list
Of what, the AP poll?
of the AP poll?
So
Let-
before we start,
Okay.
I just found this out, and did you know the number 1 recruit, Malachi Nelson, does not play for USC anymore?
Yeah, he transferred to
I'm gonna let you
Boise
guess, right?
State, right?
You got it right. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Boise State?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
This is the 2024 recruit?
So
or
apparently
3.
apparently there's some connection between him and his parents' uncles. I'm pretty sure, or maybe that's
Malachi
Dylan
Neighbors, right?
Raiola and Boise State. But the thing
No,
with Boise
that's Raiola.
Oh, that's Raiola. Yeah, pardon me. But the thing with Malachi Nelson is
Okay, Nelson.
their offensive coordinator is it was Jameis Winston's offensive coordinator in Tampa, Derek Cutter,
Mhm.
and they have a whole bunch of actual NFL guys who coach in the NFL, and he wants to get to the NFL, and so he went where they want to develop. And from what I understand, listening to the College Game Day podcast, not to plug another podcast on our podcast, was he wants a kind of like a quiet, laid back atmosphere. And which you don't really see that a lot with number 1 recruits, let alone if they're quarterbacks.
Yeah, interesting. I just saw that on ESPN. I was like, oh,
I forgot that until you just brought it up right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is very
Yeah,
interesting.
It would be the 2023.
But with
number one
NIL
recruit.
now, anything's really possible. All right, Simeon, you're up. Where'd you want to go? Let's start at the top to answer your question. Start at the top. From the top.
So numero uno.
Mm-hmm.
Numero uno. Okay, perfect. So interesting. Sorry, I was just reading about Malachi Nelson. Numero uno is without any doubt is the Georgia Bulldogs. The key game they have is they're leading off in Atlanta, in Hotlanta, August 31st against Clemson, a game that I lost in the Dynasty by a lot.
I saw an article today that Georgia, for their non-conference games, aren't leaving the state of Georgia. Like, first of all, and Alabama used to do this all the time too, right? They would play in the Chick-fil-A kickoff classic or whatever, which is in
Louisiana.
Right. They played in Louisiana or they play or they're in Atlanta. Like, can these top tier powerhouse teams, can we make a rule to get them on the road outside of their environment?
Well, and then you look what happened to Alabama when they actually played their first true road game.
At Texas?
Yeah.
They ended up winning. No, they won it on a
Texas, but they lost at home. That's what it was. Okay.
Right. Now,
But
listen,
still,
I'm not. We're not
game.
one to Robert. We're not one to talk because Michigan hasn't played a true road game since like a non-conference true road game in like forever. So we're not really ones to talk either.
Also in
You talk.
2023, Houston didn't leave the state of Texas.
Dude, that was like 8 years ago.
In 2023?
No, we played Utah 8 years ago.
Oh, yes, we did play Utah 8 years ago. Houston in 2023, Houston didn't leave the state of Texas to play a football game until October.
Nice.
And then they went to, and then actually, no, I'm sorry. They didn't leave the state of Texas until October 28th when they went to Kansas because they had West Virginia at home.
Wow.
So basically until the month of November.
How did you find that?
That was a fun fact that I remember
Okay.
from last year.
All right. Robert, do you have any qualms with Georgia number one?
I mean, like, yes and no. I mean, I think the argument is there for Ohio State too. I think Ohio State could be put in just based off of who they're bringing back. But I mean, Georgia at number one is also like.
I would,
yes and no. I don't know. That's a tough one. Not really.
You can make an argument. I think where I said this over chat, you can make an argument for Ohio State at number one. They are two. Spoiler alert, everybody. Ohio State. My big thing is always put the angry, jaded, or at least jaded in quotation marks, SEC team that's bringing back their quarterback and their entire offensive line. Put them one because they're probably just gonna be jaded and angry the whole year.
I also want to know how their key game is Clemson when they have to actually play Alabama this year during the season.
And Texas.
Yeah. Like, how do they like, you know what? Clemson.
Right. Well, Michigan's is Texas, and I'm like, I don't think so. I think it would be like Oregon or Ohio State or USC.
Conference game.
Right, an actual conference game. Yeah. So, I'm not really I don't really get it.
Ohio State gets Iowa.
Yeah. Yeah, someone I think I told you this, but Robert, I'll tell you this, and stop me if I've already told you this. Someone has been tracking, and I don't know why it's this year all of a sudden, both in college and the NFL, but we're talking college sport. Someone has been tracking quarterback stats during scrimmages for these college kids. And why I bring this up is because someone did it for Cade, and he went like 9 of 20 for 20 yards and 1 interception. And then Kirk Ferentz is like, yeah, this is an average day for us. And everyone's just like, if this is your average day, what is the season going to look like?
Oh, my goodness.
Thanks. Shout out, Carolyn. One more random fact here, just real quick, about that 2023 Houston Cougars team before we move on to pick number 2.
Sure. We already have
They
number 2.
only left the state of Texas once.
To go to Kansas.
to go to Kansas, to go to Manhattan, and then
Wow.
technically to go to Orlando.
And they still sucked.
And they only won 4 games. Can you believe that? Could you imagine if Penn State didn't have to leave the state of Pennsylvania to play football?
No, I couldn't because
I definitely wish.
I definitely wish they would leave permanently.
That's fair. Okay, let's go over to the AP number 2 team,
It's Ohio
Oh.
State. Already
Oh.
covered that.
OSU. Okay, we don't care about them.
Nope. We
Okay.
talked about them with Georgia.
Never have, never will, homie.
Real Michigan football. Robert, do me a favor, just a hair on your microphone. It's not a pod if the hair does not need to be touched. Go
Hair
up,
up or down?
up, just a little bit. Just the
You
hair.
go up a little bit.
Do I need to
Come
go up
on.
a little bit too?
Yeah. Come
Love
on.
that.
Yeah, okay,
Mike.
that's better. Everyone's better now.
Everyone's great.
Everyone's
Let's go.
up.
Everyone's up.
Everyone get hard. Number 3, Oregon Ducks. It was right there. Of course, I was gonna say it. Sorry, Mom. Key game in October against current number 2 Ohio State.
Yeah, like that's the appropriate key game there. Anyway,
Yeah.
the only issue I have with Oregon is it's a brand new quarterback. Like it's Dylan Gabriel, so obviously he comes in with experience, but it's brand new to that system,
On his 3rd team.
and there's a like they're not bringing back like 11 guys. I mean, they're only bringing back like 14 guys. They're not bringing back like their entire team. So I don't know. It just seems like Dan Lanning is getting a lot of leeway since that Colorado speech. And it's an iconic speech that he gave before the Colorado game. And Dan Lanning is a master motivator, but everyone's acting like Colorado or Oregon fell short of the national championship last year. They got manhandled twice by the same team. One on the road, one at a neutral spot. They had their destiny in their hands twice, and Dan Lanning just rolled the dice away from it because he went for it on 4th down too much in the first game, and then in the second game, they were just out-muscled the entire second half of that game. Bo Nix looks good, though, for the Denver Broncos.
I wouldn't say that they got manhandled both times by Washington.
Well, the second time they did in the second half.
Yeah, they lost by 3.
So, real quick before we move on to number 4, I forgot. This is how bad the transfer market is getting. I forgot who Dylan Gabriel was. I got Dylan Gabriel confused with, I think it was Jalen Daniels.
Yeah, crowd is going
Yeah.
mild. Yeah.
Yeah, because he played for USC, Oklahoma, and now he's going to be playing for Oregon as a redshirt senior. UCF. I'm sorry, what did I say?
USC.
That's on me. My bad, guys. That's on me.
They also have Dante Moore, too. I mean,
Pretty racist, but correct.
they have a really good quarterback room.
Yeah, a good quarterback room, but I think like it's all new to that system, right?
Yeah.
Wow. That's so fascinating, guys. Love the energy that you're bringing right now.
I brought
Number
all the-
4
No, whatever.
is the Texas Longhorns.
I would put Texas higher than 4. I would flop Texas and Oregon. But I have no problem with Texas being 4. We brought back yours.
Yeah. I mean, the argument's definitely there for Oregon or Texas to be 3
Yeah.
or 4. I feel like essentially 1 through 5, you could oh no, not 1 through 5, 1 through 4. You could probably flip flop multiple spots. Like, do I think Texas should be 1? No, not yet. Oregon 1, no. Like Ohio State and Georgia definitely 1, 2. You could flip those. Texas, Oregon, you can flip flop those. And I kind of feel like that's how it is until we reach like 7 and 8, and then the AP committee just decided that they didn't want to think about football anymore, but we'll get there when we get there.
We'll get there when we get there.
There it is. Number 5, Alabama. Also, these ceilings and floors are like all over the place.
Let's not get into the ceiling and floors.
Yeah,
guys.
we're not going to touch them. Key game September 28th versus number 1 Georgia. First season for Coach Kalen DeBoer. I'm sorry.
So, Simeon, we talked about this in the car.
We did.
Alabama has earned the right to be 5 because of their history with Nick Saban. However, Nick Saban's gone. Kalen DeBoer comes in. Yes, Kalen DeBoer, no national championships, as Rob reminds us, but he is a good winner. He does win games. My big thing is, if this was any other team, and the proof is in the pudding, especially with Michigan, Alabama would be much lower on the list. So this is kind of Bama bias, but I'm okay with it because they've earned the right. Like if Michigan went on this run and then like this historic 15-year run and then Harbaugh left, like I would expect them to get in the good graces and be ranked top 5. So I don't really have a problem with it. Also, their starting quarterback comes back, but I wouldn't have put them as high on the list because of the new coaching staff and some of the turnover as well, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Lost Caleb Downs. They lost Walter Nolan, I think. Maybe he came from A&M, but they lost another defensive lineman to Ole Miss. So I don't know, a little high for me.
I'm okay with them at 5 because I don't think any team out there right now could replace them as 5, even though it is DeBoer's first year. They're still always have one of the top recruiting classes, and they always have good players coming back. It's just, are they getting biased? Absolutely. It's still Alabama, no matter how you paint the picture. But I think 5 is appropriate because I can't see them going to 4 just because of who's in front of them. And I don't really see them dropping because right below them is Ole Miss, and Ole Miss hasn't proved anything, really.
Yeah, that was my next argument. And Simeon, just to take your hosting duties away here, number 6 is Ole Miss, since it's kind of a segue
Yeah,
here.
the non-bubble team is ranked number 6 with 3 SEC teams ahead of them.
Yes, they're not a bubble team.
It puts them on the bubble.
Oh my gosh. No, it doesn't. We're not
Yes,
having
it
this
does.
argument again.
It bugs the crap out of me that you don't see. And listen, the
Simeon,
dude
Simeon,
in the chat,
if they finish 6, if they finish the way that this starts, which would be, they're going to
honestly
make the
incredible.
playoff. That's not a bubble team.
but will they?
Oh my gosh. It's not about it's
So
not,
it is ranked. So it doesn't have to do that. Like they would be the 3rd SEC team in.
it's
You're
since
telling
you
me
weren't
if
paying
at 4th, they would be the 4th SEC team. They wouldn't care.
No, they wouldn't, because
Isn't it still by committee?
It's the 6th highest conference champion,
Yep.
and then the next 6th highest ranked teams. So in this instance, Georgia would be the 1 seed, Ohio State would be the 2, Notre Dame would be the 5 seed, Florida State would be the 3 seed, and Utah would be the 4 seed. The next teams to get in are Oregon, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Penn State.
So Ole Miss is 2 away from getting kicked out.
Yes, I guess.
So
Sure.
in theory, would
They're
you
not on
put
the bubble, no.
Oh my gosh, they're
Bub-
on the bubble.
No, Bubble's outside looking in.
Like, to you.
Yeah, to me. Anyway.
Well, you already spoiled the next ones. We're gonna go down. Did you want to talk about Ole Miss, the team that's not on the bubble? That's on the bubble.
No, I have no problem with this. Roberts of Ole Miss hasn't done anything. They have just stockpiled recruits. Talk about Ohio State has been dubbed the best team that money can buy. Ole Miss is right there behind them. Ole Miss has taken a lot of high-level transfers from a lot of different colleges. Jackson Dart is like a 6th-year senior, I'm pretty sure now, because of the COVID situation. This offense should be rolling. The offense really never was the problem until they played Bama or Georgia, and it's always been the defense. Can they get the defense righted? Who knows? But Robert has a problem with the next 2 teams on the list, so you might as well just let him have the floor here.
So 7. We'll just start with number 7, who has Texas A&M week 1, August 31st. Is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Can anyone explain to me how Notre Dame ends
Here
up
it
in
is.
the top 10?
No.
It makes no sense. Okay, their schedule is always terrible because they're independent, because they don't have the cojones to join a conference and actually play a schedule.
Proud of you
So
for using appropriate language.
Yeah, we got new subscribers now, so I gotta take it easy. But they have the absolute, they have the easiest way to schedule who they want when they want, no questions asked, no restrictions. Everyone else has restrictions because they have to do so many conference teams. These guys are like, give me Army, give me Navy, Northern Illinois, Purdue. Yeah, and they're like, oh, well, I mean, we do play tough teams. We play Notre Dame, or we play Florida State. Yeah, we play USC all the way at the end of the year when they don't care about their season anymore. Yeah,
They've inevitably lost 3 games.
We'll play Texas A&M, who's they only thing Texas A&M knows how to do is to buy players. They don't know how to use them, but they know how to buy them.
Hey, this Mike Elko, according to this article, it's a new season in College Station.
If anyone's gonna turn College Station around, it will be Mike Elko. But
yeah, more than likely.
Yeah,
but still, they finished number 14 last year. But you're gonna put them into the top 10, and you're gonna say, yeah, this team deserves to sit at the table with Alabama, with Texas, Oregon. No, because what'll happen is Notre Dame will go and maybe they lose one game. They'll lose one game, and it'll be a game that they should have beat. They'll beat Florida State, who's ranked 10, and then they'll lose to Virginia the next week because that's what they do. And then they'll go and take a spot in the playoffs and just get absolutely mollywopped. And then it's like, oh, Notre Dame's here again. It's so stupid. Just because they just love Notre Dame.
This is my favorite.
Your best argument, Robert, and I don't 100% agree with you, but your best argument is the fact that they are ranked 7 and they're returning 9 starters, 3 on offense. So they're basically installing an entirely new offense, including their quarterback, who's a transfer from Duke, Riley Leonard. They lost their star tight end. They lost their star running back. Their O-line is replacing 3 starters, including the number 5 overall pick, Joe Alt. Their defense is good, 16 points a game. To Robert's point, some of that is competition. They have to go to Georgia Tech, Navy. They have to go to Army, and they have to go to USC, Purdue, and then they're playing at Texas A&M. First of all, Purdue's not in October, so that's an easy dub.
If we had put that schedule into college football right now, they would give us an F- how bad that schedule is.
Yeah, the schedule: Texas A&M, Northern Illinois, Purdue, Miami of Ohio, Louisville, Stanford, Georgia Tech, Navy, then Florida State, then Virginia, Army, USC. They have 3 hard games. Maybe Louisville. Maybe.
It depends on how much Georgia Tech has improved, but
And
in the
who was it?
trenches,
Louisville
they
and
shouldn't match
Purdue
up.
switched. I'm forgetting how that whole coaching thing happened.
The
this
coach from Purdue, went from Purdue to Louisville.
year. Went from Purdue to Louisville.
Hey, Robert, since you're already worked up, what do you think about Penn State at 8?
I don't understand how you can put Penn State in the top 10 either. Like, okay, they are returning an excellent running back room, but they don't know how to use them. Because
I'm not
when they
really impressed with their running back room. Everyone's like, man.
well, that Nick Singleton could be such a great running back, but they don't know how to run the damn ball, because what they do is the only time they do run is with the quarterback. How could you have beat Michigan last year and you run the ball against Michigan? If you can run the ball against Michigan, you can beat them because it opens up your passing game. Alabama did a really good job of running the ball against Michigan because Milroe couldn't stay off of the ground.
Right.
They have no wide receivers. Like, your number 1 wide receiver right now was like number 6 at Ohio State in Fleming.
Yeah, I forgot Fleming transferred, but
Yeah.
yeah Fleming
He's
transferred.
so in my opinion, he's probably the best one they have, but he wasn't like he didn't. I mean, he kind of started last year a little bit, but like he was like the 5th best wide receiver there. That's a big issue because what's going to happen is you're going to go through this cakewalk season again, only 2 ranked teams, and you're going to go and be like, oh, Penn State back again. Penn State's going to be the big dog here. Then they'll play Ohio State, get thumped, and it's like, oh, well, James Franklin really needs to figure out how to turn this around, and we'll be on this podcast in October saying, November, is this the year they finally get rid of James Franklin? Do they really think we need like James Franklin will still be? It's inevitable. Like they skate by so many years and they finish in the top 10 because all the teams in the top 10 beat the hell out of each other all season. And Penn State's like, just going to go ahead and sit right here with my cakewalk schedule.
So
Gonna go school. They don't have a necessarily. I disagree that they have a cakewalk schedule. They don't have a difficult schedule compared to other teams in the Big Ten.
I think they could lose week 1 on the road in Morgantown. I really do.
They could lose week 1. According to NCAA football, college football 25, they're losing week 2 to Bowling Green. So, and then they have Kent State. Illinois always plays them hard. I think will continue to. Then they have UCLA and USC back to back with UCLA, USC, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Washington back to back to back to back. If they're not careful, they're going to be, what would that be if they actually lost to West Virginia but beat the people they should? 1, 2, 3. They'd be 3-5.
So they
going into Purdue.
They do get Ohio State at home, and they get UCLA at home, and they get Washington at home. Right, so they have to go to USC. And they have to go to Wisconsin. But Wisconsin, they're coming off of a bye before they play Wisconsin. Yeah, Rob, I'm not really sure. This year, at least, their schedule is a little bit harder. They are returning 16 starters. My biggest problem with Penn State being ranked is now for about 5 straight seasons, their offense has stayed the exact same and has not progressed. They have not been able to throw the ball more than 20 yards down the field with great accuracy since Trace McSorley was there. And knock, knock, hello, everybody. That was 8 years ago now. The upset of Ohio State in the whiteout with the block field goal that was returned back for a touchdown. And when you won the Big Ten championship game, that was 8 years ago now, everybody. You need to wake up and realize that it's been a while and you need to start actually being like, oh no, we suck again. This isn't all, that was a few years ago. This was 8 years ago. By the way, that was a prime A reference that I just made that no one under our ages will get. So great job, Micaiah. The crowd goes mild.
I didn't realize that it's only the last 3 seasons that they had 2 or 3 losses. They obviously went 11-2 the past. That's including the bowl games, the last 2 years, and then what would be 10-3 in 20.
They get West Virginia, Bowling Green, and then a bye week. Could you imagine if they actually start 0-2?
Yeah, I don't know what
I'll drive to Happy Valley myself if they go 0-2.
Will you drive to Happy Valley and root for Penn State if they go 0-2?
Not in a snowball's chance in hell.
Against Kent State? Come on, Golden Flashes. At least be a fan for one time. Let's skip to number 9, the Michigan Wolverines. I don't know if I'm just being, I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for.
Bias?
Yeah, but reverse cynical. I don't know if I'm just being cynical, but 9 seems high.
Yeah.
For what they lost.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But they do have 7th-year player Jack Tuttle.
Rob, I'm getting reports out of camp that he's actually might be starting. Are you kidding me? Are you hearing the same?
What has Alex Orji done, though? That's the thing. Tuttle got more playing time last year than Orji did.
Until he got injured.
And Tuttle was a 2-year starter at Indiana, but still,
Well, I think on an experience base, I think that's mainly what they're looking at. And I think because Tuttle fits the scheme more than what Orji does. Because I think Orji, even though he's a fantastic athlete, he almost would fit like the old Harbaugh way with like Gardner,
Wish
Denard
like Shea
Robinson.
Patterson.
Yeah, kind of like back in that. But I just think Tuttle's probably going to get them. They're going to do exactly what they did with Cade and JJ. Is probably Tuttle will start, but Orgy's going to be worked in there a lot more. And I wouldn't surprise me if Orgy does a lot more of the running and the more explosive plays. But I don't know. I mean, I think 9's appropriate for him because they're defending national champions, but they also just a lot of uncertainty on what they have.
I do think that their defense will be very dominant still.
Yeah.
I mean, I envision their defense. Not many teams are going to be able to run on them with consistency. And then Will Johnson probably has half the field shut down most of the game, assuming he can stay healthy, which has been an issue on and off for him.
Number 10, we go to Florida State, FSU. Their big one they have is the Week 0 matchup against Georgia Tech in Dublin. That's the Irish Classic. I don't know what we're calling that. I forget what we call that game now, but it's kind of cool to see Georgia Tech and FSU going over there instead of Notre Dame and Navy or something dumb like that.
Just don't mess it up, Florida State. Listen, you got your shot. You whined, you cried. I was on your bandwagon. You should have been in the college football playoff, undefeated season. Jordan Travis got injured late in the season. You're 10 now, so you get a running chance, okay? You got a running start. You're turning over a lot of your team. Take advantage of it. Don't pull Florida State like how Florida State normally does, right? Like, actually show up, win your games, and you'll be in.
Yeah, I mean, you have a quarterback, DJ, who a lot of experience there. Literally, they just have to play football and just win your games.
And
win your
DJ
games, you're in.
DJ was good last year for Oregon State as well.
Tore me up all over the place in I keep wanting to call it NCAA. I'm having to college football 25. It's tearing me up.
I mean, that's not saying much though for
all
you,
over
really.
the field. Listen here, you little piece.
Oh,
Listen,
brother,
just because
I
I beat the hard teams and lose to the bad ones does not mean anything. Except it was only just Wake Forest.
Simeon, don't just you wait. At one point, Robert, he looks like gangbusters, but then at one point, he's not going to be able to stop the pass. He's not going to be able to do anything defensively, and then he'll be in the exact same position
Cal.
you are.
That was Cal.
All right, so big question here. We're going to speed up a little bit. Big question here at number 11, Mizzou. And the big question here is I don't have an issue with Mizzou. It's a little bit high, probably like 15 for me, given the fact that they lost their starting quarterback, right? If I'm remembering correctly.
Returning quarterback lost their starting running back.
That's who I'm thinking of. But big surprise last year. Possible comeback this year. Hard SEC. I'm more. They leave more question marks because we don't know who they are than anything.
They're returning 14. I have no problem with this. They're returning 14 starters. They finished 11-2.
I had a problem with it.
Quarterback and wide receiver both returning. New defensive coordinator comes in from South Alabama.
Corey Batum.
I mean, not much to say about Missouri. People are either going to find out who Missouri is this year, or it'll be like, oh, Missouri had that one good year like last year. That was great. Move on.
I would have. Now, this is just me being me, obviously. So take it how you want it. I probably would have had Missouri at like 7, 8, 10, whatever, inside the top 10. They're probably going to have the Biletnikoff winner with Luther Burden. They're just another team that can either win the games they need to win. Do I think they'll win the SEC championship? No, probably not. I mean, unfortunately for them, even their best teams are going to be falling the worst of times. But at 11, they're still okay. I still think, I mean, I would have put Penn State, Notre Dame at like 11, 12 and threw Mizzou in there, but it's just me.
Let's jump over out west, number 12, Utah Utes. in the Big 12 now. Sorry, have to remember. It's hard with old man, not Cam Ward,
Rising.
Cam Rising. Sorry. I think this is a little like, I don't know. I think they're going to be the hot new thing.
It's kind of what people are. That's the storyline people are going with. They always play tough. Last year their quarterback play was just below average, which is kind of why I think they finished 8-4, because they're normally in that 9-10 win range. So I kind of really like them. They're going to be tough at the line of scrimmage. It should be noted, though, last time they went from the Big 12 to the Pac-12, it took them a few years to get their footing. However, this is a very veteran team, both offensively and defensively. They're returning 15 starters, and this could be also Kyle Whittingham's kind of final season there, which might invigorate the players and get them to, win one for the old Gipper, as it were. Yeah, I probably would have had Utah a little higher because I expect big things out of them, but watch them fall flat on their face and finish 8-4 again.
Yeah, who knows? It's kind of cool though to see. I'm kind of using this as another preview for everyone. It's cool to see them and BYU kind of get the band back together.
The Holy War.
The Holy War get riled back up. All right, a team I'm not expecting too much from this year, but they do have Brian Kelly. I just remembered. It's the LSU Tigers. They're going Sunday night. It's a Sunday in Las Vegas, right? USC. Them in USC. That's going to be a fun game. I'm excited for that. Them at 13. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Robbie, you can take this one.
I mean, it's appropriate for them because they did finish off pretty strong. The biggest things for them is they lost the Heisman quarterback. You kind of lost a good bit. I mean, Brian Kelly's been, even at Notre Dame, he was able to bring in talent. It's just, they're probably the worst good team in the SEC this year, and they'll finish they could finish 10 or maybe 9-3, but end up fifth in the SEC just because the SEC has so much talent this year.
Robert, to your point, they're replacing their OC, quarterback, and 2 starting wide receivers, and their defense was 106th in total yards and 118th in passing yards last year.
Who's their most likely starting quarterback? So I'm trying to pull
Garrett
it up here.
Nussmeier.
Yeah.
Garrett Nussmeier.
He was okay. He wasn't anything special, though. That's the kind of bad part. And their schedule's kind of favorable until they run into Ole Miss, A&M, and Bama. But other than that, 9-3 is pretty respectable for them.
Yeah.
They need a little bit more to happen for them to be to be in that race for the SEC. But
they need their defense to get better.
Yeah,
their defense sucks.
Who knows? Brought in Blake Baker from Missouri, of all places. Clemson Tiger is at number 14. Are we expecting a bounce back for them, given they're ranked 14th?
I don't know. I want to say yes because I love Dabo. I'm a big Dabo guy, but Robert, you're shaking your head. I don't know.
I don't think so.
It just feels like the room has gone stale. Is that the best way to put that, maybe? They're not infusing any oomph into the program. Cade's okay. He's not great. Phil Maffa's great, but I've said this so many times. Their offensive identity has never been the offensive line giving it to their running back and running downhill as it is at Michigan and as it is at Georgia and as it is at, for many years, Alabama before they kind of became more spread. So they just need an infusion of something, and I just feel like it's not there. Even Michigan, its promote from within and keep the same structure and all that. It's fine. But they still go out and they still bring in transfers, right? They bring guys in that will help them. Like they had 0 transfers in again. This is like the 3rd straight season. It just feels stale. I'm not expecting them to finish in the top 25.
I think they'll finish in top 25. I mean, Georgia's like their hardest game other than Florida State. They finished 10-2. Like,
but that's what I'm saying, Rob.
that's like 15.
Right, but you are correct. But I don't have any faith that they'll be able to go 10-2.
So you're gonna know week 1 for Clemson. I also agree with you, but you're gonna know week 1 with Clemson, right? Because no offense, they kind of have a cakewalk patch minus Florida State and NC State, and then they have South Carolina at the end. We'll see how the rest of the team looks like. If they're me, they're losing to Wake Forest in October, but you know, you're gonna see who Clemson is week 1, and my guess is there's not much they're gonna do. Change, but this is Garrett Riley's 2nd season. What do I always say about 2nd seasons, Micaiah?
They're the make or break seasons.
It's the make or break season. Number 15, speaking of someone who broke last year, however, Joe Milton looks athletic in Patriots camp, better than Drake May. Tennessee Volunteers, 15. Did I miss something last year?
So
I don't know.
They do have probably the nation's best pass rusher. I forget I think his last name's Pierce. So their defense is supposed to be better. Their defense actually was respectable last year. The problem with Tennessee last year was their offense and Joe Milton's inconsistency. And I want it known, and I'm stealing this from Brandon Walker, is Joe Milton has to be the best practice quarterback that anyone has ever seen, because he fooled Jim Harbaugh. He fooled Josh Heupel to the point where he started over Hendon Hooker. Then Hendon Hooker took his job the next year, went on that incredible run. And then when Joe Milton got the job back, he was mid at best. And now he might steal the starting job from Drake May. Their defense is good. Josh Heupel is going to find a way to score 28 to 30 points a game. As long as he updates that system a little bit, because the wide splits running inside with the RPOs, teams will be able to figure that out. But 15's fine for me, like somewhere in there, and just let them kind of climb or fall.
Yeah, 15's fine for them. They're not going to finish inside the top 25, though. This is the team that I think is going to fall hard. That's going to fall harder than anybody.
Okay.
Let's talk about another team here. Oklahoma Sooners, number 16. Again, we got a new quarterback, new running back.
I think it's a little disrespectful to Oklahoma. They're returning 13 starters, 7 on defense. Yes, they are replacing Dylan Gabriel. Now, I'm seeing that they're replacing their entire offensive line, but it's the same offensive system, and all the offensive line they're replacing are transfers with starting experience. I think 16's a little disrespectful, with especially how they finished last year. They went 10-2, and then they lost their bowl game. Them and then the other team in Oklahoma State. I think 16-17. I'm not saying they should be top 10, but I think they should be right outside there with how their seasons went last year and how much they are returning.
Love it. Oklahoma State. That's 17. Oklahoma State at 17 is, I think, a little rude. I think I'm trying to find it real fast. I think because it's garbage. Here we go, man himself. There it is. We also have to bring him up. Has proven that he'll bounce back and has given us strong teams the past half decade, at least.
Ever since he's been there, Rob.
Yeah.
I don't want to steal all the talk time. So I mean, I'll let you talk.
Brother.
But they're returning 20 starters. They're returning like everybody.
Yeah, I mean, they are the team that you look, if they were a top 10 team and you look at them and you're like, oh, they're returning all these guys. It's like, okay, how are they not number 1, 5, 4, 2, whatever? Obviously, they're probably going to have he's either going to be the best or the second or third best running back. Definitely going to probably be a Heisman finalist in Go ahead, Simeon. Give me his name.
Not sorry. I thought of the dude's son at because he transferred. So you'll have to forgive me.
The
'cause that
crowd
was in
is
my
going
head.
super mild right
I
now.
know.
If you want to win the game, you let who run the ball?
Oh, Ollie Gordon.
Right. I think the biggest concern with them is the fact that they had such a good, they same exact team essentially,
Yeah.
and the number of times they fell flat on their face. So 17, I think, is appropriate for them, just because any higher and we're falling into, I think, Texas A&M's old territory, where Texas A&M would be like number 6, and they would start the season 0-2, and it's like, well, obviously no one knows what they're doing then.
To your point about falling flat on your face, they lost 33-7 to South Alabama in week 3 last year. And then, coming off of a monster win, the last Bedlam game, which I predicted, they beat Oklahoma at home. Then they fell super flat on their face at UCF in a rain game that got delayed 45-3 and let UCF run for like 400,000 yards on them.
Yeah.
So I get it. I just think that with how many starters they are returning, that they would have gotten a little. But yeah, I mean, I get it. And listen, their schedule this year does not do them any favors. First of all, they start off with the FCS champions, South Dakota State Jackrabbits. Then they get Arkansas, an SEC team, low level but still. Tulsa. Then it's immediate. It's hello, welcome to the Big 12. Utah, Kansas State, West Virginia, who might be ranked by them, BYU, Baylor, okay, so maybe a little bit of a break, Arizona State in there, but then it's TCU, probably a team that can score, Texas Tech, team that can score, and then Colorado, and who knows what Colorado will be by that point.
They're at Colorado though.
I'm actually surprised. Like, I haven't seen Colorado within this top 18 yet.
They're not in the top 25.
Oh, I thought they would have been there with the way that
They received one vote. Iowa is 25th. Spoiler alert. They received 140 votes, so they're 139 votes away from the top 25.
Wow, it's almost like people can understand that Colorado sucks.
Someone who doesn't suck as much as Colorado and probably will beat them is number 18, the Kansas State Wildcats.
I have nothing to say about Kansas State besides
I think this is a good rank. 18.
it's a fine rank. It's a great coach and a scheme. They'll 9-3 is great for them.
Yeah.
Pretty much the rest.
Yeah, I have no problem with the rest.
It's pretty appropriate. Like, these are the
Wait,
teams
hold on.
that
Miami
they're either
should
going
be
to
ranked.
win. I don't have a problem with Miami because they actually have a lot coming back this year too. Like, they have a pretty decent team. They got a new quarterback in Cam Ward, which elevates them. You know, it's just.
Hey, I talked about him earlier.
I mean, listen, they're gonna be the ACC champions, so they're gonna end up being probably 12 by the end of the.
All right, calm down over there, Mr. Miami himself.
Well, them and
Mr.
A&M,
305.
them and A&M, 19 and 20. It's the same thing every year. So it's can they overcome it? It's great preseason expectations, a great roster, good transfers, high level, blah blah blah, new coach, toughness. We're gonna change the culture, blah 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 blah, and then mid-season. So can they avoid this year? And that's their story. But I don't have a problem with how they are ranked currently.
Well, then let's skip to 21, the Arizona Wildcats.
Team
That was good. I like
probably
that.
Thanks.
should not have been ranked just because, yes, they're returning their quarterback and their wide receiver. Brand new coach, though, and he's coming from San Jose State. It's not like they got a Power 5 coach, and I'm not saying low-level group of 5 coaches can't coach at the big schools. I'm just saying early in the season, we don't know if he can do anything, right?
I kind of feel like anymore, like, yeah, the coach is important, but it kind of seems like the coach isn't that important anymore. Like, they're more.
We'll find out this year for
not
sure.
cheerleaders, but it's like they kind of just put you in the right place, and it seems like
they're going from like coach to CEO is more
Right.
of what
Yeah.
college
Okay, I can
coaches
agree
are
with that,
turning
yeah.
into. Yeah, for sure. I think you're 100% right.
you're just putting people where they need to be, and it's like you're getting paid now. You guys are the like this is where I think finally we're going to start putting pressure on the players. Like you can blame as many coaches as you want, but you guys are making the mistakes. You guys are out on the field. You guys are getting paid bucks. Like this is you guys have to do this. And the coaches are just, like you said, the CEO, it's all right, transfer portal, boom, taking this one's out, this
Yeah.
one's in, this one's going here. We're going to throw cash to this one through the, it's like, it's a new age of coaching, and it's almost like not as important.
Yeah, some of
But
them
it
are going
still
to
is.
transition. Yeah, some of them are going to transition better than others. Someone who has transitioned seemingly pretty well, Lance Leipold, down in Kansas. Obviously, the Wildcats.
This has
the
been your
Kansas
best
State
take ever,
18.
Simeon.
Thanks.
You have been wrong
No,
about...
that's not true. It's my second best take.
What's your best take?
My best take has been the fact that the NCAA has devolved, that college football has devolved into what college football has devolved
Okay,
into.
sure. I'm still going with Lance Leipold because you said when he came from Buffalo, you said great hire. Kansas is going to be nationally prominent in 2 years, and I think I agreed with you at the time. I'm like, yeah, it's fine,
It's like at the end of a podcast.
But
It's really
yeah,
like,
but
whatever.
you hit the nail on the head. The
Big
big
12
thing
champ.
with Kansas, Rob, is Jalen Daniels. Can he stay healthy? Because when he's on the field, he's electric, and their offense is just scoring points. But then he hurts something. Apparently, he's doing new yoga poses to help strengthen his back, which is, speaking to someone with back issues, I get that. And maybe we should talk, so hit me up. But I have no problem with this. Like, if I knew that the quarterback wasn't going to be a
Ew, David.
potentially injury problem, I'd be like, yeah, put them high up in the teens. But I'm good with this at 22.
What's that guy? In San Antonio Spur? The French guy is Wimbyambo or whatever his name is.
Wembanyama. Yeah.
Yeah. He does a lot of mobility stuff and credits a lot of
Oh,
his
he needs to.
rigidity, agility.
There it is.
Rigidity,
Nope.
whatever the word I'm looking for is.
Agility.
Not rigid. His agility.
Well, it's like his agility and his ability to take stuff, like take hits, roll his ankle, and just be 100% fine to a lot of that sort of mobility stuff that he does pre-game. So hopefully it works out. I'm love the way that Kansas is going. Big Jayhawks fans. If Michigan can't do it, Rock Chalk Jayhawk,
Rock
baby.
Chalk Jayhawk.
Number
Big 12
23 is the USC Trojans. Low for them.
I don't.
Low for them.
No, I don't.
I don't care.
I don't. Lincoln Ryan. Here's how the season's going to go.
Is Lincoln Riley going to live up to this ranking? Because I feel like he's going to.
It could go one of Robert. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's going one of two ways. They'll finish either in the college football playoff or on the border of it and have a really good season, or they'll finish outside the top 25.
No, they're outside the top 25.
Like there's no in between. I think
No.
I think their offense is going to score
Hard
and
schedule.
score 28 to 32 points a game and be dynamic and explosive. I still do not trust with DeAnthony Lynn coming over from UCLA, because UCLA had their problems too on defense, that they're just going to be a changed team and be able to hold teams under 35 points a game.
But they got that guy from North Dakota State
Yeah, I mean,
as your assistant head
Yeah, he's
coach.
like an assistant head, whatever he is. But
Yeah, that was such
Yeah.
a weird hire.
like USC, I don't see a scenario because they'll lose if they lose to LSU, automatically out of the top 25. Then
Yeah.
they got to play
Right.
a couple games. Then they get Michigan.
Utah State, then Michigan. Yeah.
Right. So if Michigan is anything like obviously we all want them to be, there's their second loss, which means they're even further out of the top 25. and it doesn't get any better for them because they have to play Penn State, and either they win, they need to win that one. If they don't win that one, like even if they only have 3 losses, they're still not in the top 25. They can't even sniff the playoff.
Nice. Great Duke impression.
You like that?
Great
You
Duke
like that?
impression. Number
Just
24.
wait, my anxiety's next.
Love this. Love it. Number 24 is the NC State Wolfpack.
I'm fine with them there. I mean, they're a
Except
team
for when
that's
they
just going to
lose
hang
all their
around.
games by 4 points.
Yeah, I mean, as long as whatever his name isn't the new coach, whatever this guy's name is in our league. But yeah, NC State, they just hang around. You know, they're a team that is either not great, but they're okay. You know, they win games that they need to, but they kind of lose games. So
I think I heard something that they haven't won 10 games in like 40 years. That's their hump, where their hump to get over is 9 to 10 wins. So we'll have to see if they can do it.
Let's go. Rounding out yours and I's favorite 14-point a game team, the Iowa
gatekeeper.
Hawkeyes.
Iowa's
What
the
keeper?
gatekeeper. That's the standard.
What do you mean?
They are the team that's like, what? Do you think you could beat the Iowa Hawkeyes? And if everyone's like, yep, they can. Like Colorado, can they beat Iowa? Probably not. So they're not in the top 25.
Oh, I see
They're
what
the
you mean.
gatekeepers.
Yeah. Do you think that every team above them in the top 25 can beat Iowa?
I don't know about NC State
Because
Yeah,
I don't
probably.
know about USC either.
Yeah, I mean, we'll find out. But
Yeah.
probably, I would say from 22 up. Yeah, they
Okay.
could probably beat Iowa.
All right. I mean, as of right now, all we know about Iowa, right, is that their defense is really good and their special teams really good and,
And
they're
they
really
wave.
sound. And they wave.
And they wave.
And they
That's
wave.
about it.
very
Like,
cute.
if their offense can come out and average 25 points a game, Robert, it could be over for the rest of the top 25 because their defense is just kind of that good and they just hang around, but I just don't know. Are we done? We're done.
I was making sure that was the right one before I started playing it.
You could have
and
put
I-
it on preview and done
I
that.
did, and then I had to switch it back to live, but I forgot to hit pause before I switched back to live. It's such a Simeon move to do. I mean,
The crowd went mild.
The crowd went wild. Listen, guys, we get it. This is the Horses Podcast on the internet. It's not always as fun as last week, but now you're a little bit smarter on what's going on. We'll see you guys next week.
Wash your hands, you filthy animals.
2 weeks, baby. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.